without any engage, let's see what they can really do with some agency skimming.
But that's the big question here, Tally, because for Bliss, it was a case of we want to win, but also we want to do some mental damage. The fashion in which they stomped that game one really is looking to try and set the tone of this series. And Ground Zero say, you know what, we don't want that bit of doubt to start to creep in. Back to our best champions. Let's get back to winning ways.
Yeah, and I think we saw, last series, the power of Aldork and Kev. This game, they are playing the Karthus Braum, so they don't really want to link up. They do want to have, those 3 mans to the 2 mans. They want to have, either the Ezreal, the Corki, or the Renekton participate in those skirmishes to really, enable those concussive blows. And, CCing up these champions really enables a lot of the damage that comes out of Bliss because they are skill shot heavy, and it's so important that they do lock down these members. And if Kurak goes in once, falls over, it's just going to be, a snowball effect of all of a sudden, he's not fed. And when he does get caught out, he will start to fall down.
Well, that is my major concern about this comp for Ground Zero, right? Is it has a lot of damage, but it could be incredibly squishy if they fall behind for a second time. Nice ward is going to spot out the invade that Bliss are going for. And it gives ample time then for Schönfire to set up some vision with his own plants, wrap around, and look to be safe in the end. And we've seen this throughout the playoffs, right? A team that has a Braum and a Karthus, they want to level 1.
Yeah, and this is Ground Zero getting punished for the, quite a greedy level 1. The Zeri, not a strong champ level 1. Zari, not a strong champ level 1. Where you look at the enemy team, Karthus, Ezreal, Braum, probably, the level, respected strongest champs in their individual roles at level 1. So nice to see that Bliss are using the aggression early, but Flash coming out of Aldoric.
Yeah, very aggressive flash there just to try and punish Limis, who just hits him with the high five or the thumbs up rather than saying, I'm not quite sure about that one. You can understand to a degree that he wants to hit the stun, but I'm sure Violet had much better things in mind. Let me just hit these waves under tower, man.
Yeah, this is just a good read by Ground Zero. They go to the wave straight away. They recognize, we cannot fight this level 1. So they push that wave in. Now all of a sudden they can walk back. They can check their jungle, but it's all gone, Skimmy. Kevy's already stolen away everything, and he can contest that top side because he does have the Pride in the mid lane. He does have the Renekton in the top side, and all of a sudden, if Aldork wants to move, if there's a potential invade on the top side, it's going to be very, very hard for Schönfire to get back in this game.
That certainly is. Let's see what he can actually try and accomplish with that in mind. Having taken the top half of his jungle, he's going to go across and look for the enemy reds. Meanwhile, more aggression in the bot lane. Shield goes up, denying a little bit of that Zeri poke, but the Zenith Blade is fantastic onto Violet. Buffers up nicely with the Arcane Chip, but Aldork having already burnt that flash is just simply dead. And Violet's going to try and answer back, but all he can pick up is the constellation prize. No, not even that, Tally. Denied his Kurak. He always refuses to die, and that's the perfect first blood here for Ground Zero.
And he snuck into the bush, but he does show himself, Skimmy. So this was the trade. They didn't want to deny Schönfire those topside camps. They just split the map, but all of a sudden, the lane who should really be suffering in the split map conditions is, doing so well, and they're winning. And this is also Fido, pushing his advantage in the lane, does have that cookie advantage, so does have some health to himself, but Kevy's finally coming down the bot side. Limus has that barrier still. Let's see if they do want to, potentially play for a dive here.
Bot lane is so scary right now. Not a single summoner is there. Only a cleanse and a barrier. But how much success can they be used for? Limus just trying to stick out some vision. Kevy biding his time, waiting for this wave to crash. Agonizingly slow, though, is its push, but here it comes.
Fido has TP.
The Wall of Pain's going to be dropped. The TP, will it be used? Now's the battle. Can you dodge these Skittles? Out comes one TP, but the heist is done yet again. They've got in, they've got out, and Fido's only got a couple of minions as the silver lining.
And this was so well played, by Ground Zero initially to find that 2v2 kill on the weak side, but I think overstaying there was such a mistake, Skimmy. They had so long to reset and just come back to lane. The wave was pushing into them. They had no reason to overstay like that. And they just, gave the advantage back to the side of Bliss, and all of a sudden, Kevy does have this lead on the first base. We'll get his base cancelled, but he's still really happy with what has happened in these first 4 minutes.
That he certainly is, right? A jungle Karthus getting a gank off and getting a kill before level 6 is simply phenomenal. And as you rightly mentioned, it's going to be frustrating for Limus to get a first blood as a Zeri, just to fall down after.
Yeah, did have the barrier, but didn't, send that summoner there. It probably didn't even matter because it doesn't have the flash. After that concussive blows does land, it is just so easy to land all that the damage onto him with that slow. So just nice by Bliss overall to bounce back from that, poor early game we saw in the 2v2. But, it's going to come back towards the side of Bliss, with these reclears happening. Actually, no, I changed with Skimmy. I think it's going to benefit Schönfire, with that invade happening and the fact that his bot lane camp spawned first. I'll hold my point, Harry does get, engaged on here. With the reclear, it's going to, benefit his pathing because he wants to end up on the top side of the map where the grubs are, but Kevy's top lane camps aren't going to spawn for a while and neither are his bot lane camps.
Yeah, so it certainly does bode well for, Zyra to get herself back into a strong foothold, and definitely what they're going to be relying upon, as you can see, the meticulous nature between mid and bot, rotating, constantly figuring out, okay, how can we minimize any kind of losses here, both in gold and experience, and continue to keep our, lane opponent up in the air, guessing, what's my matchup? Who am I versing against? Where do I need to play towards? What is the safe side? And where does this vision need to be planted? Because that's another great ward that's going to allow Harry the protection to know that, hey, your jungle is getting ganked, but Kevy's going to instantly beeline towards it.
And here we go, we're going to have a little smite fight. Kevy does have the advantage here, so this should be going towards him, but this is still Schoenfire with the, control of the map right now. We see him, he has a tiny bit of an experience lead, and if he does get these grubs, Skimmy, that will be that level 16 ding for him. It could be the fight difference on the stop side.
And it certainly could be there, as both these supports continue to be incredibly aggressive in the bot lane, holding this bush like their life depends on it, saying, if you face check, you will simply perish. Not enough damage to find that just yet, with ultimates only a level away. But certainly a bit of a dream for the AD carries to CS, and then choke a little bit of poke from the sides when given an opportunity to do just that. Fighter don't get it going with the Carlink, flash to try and run away from that one, and Harry does survive, buys a bit of time, affords a bit of space, as Bliss then go in for the grubs.
Schoenfire really, really wants to contest this one, but Fighter, doesn't have much matter to his name. It has the cookies, but Aldoric with that rotation up means that the extra pressure secures them the 3 grubs, and Schoenfire sort of just, sat around here and wasted his time because he could not find anything from, hovering the mid lane. And it's just really well played by Bio overall. I'd say, stacking up that wave and being in the river that entire time Tien was stuck on his tower, last hitting all those minions.
It really does beg the question then, when we talk about it, right? The lower bracket run. Obviously, you've been part of a whole bunch of teams that have run the gauntlet, and it was the most successful that I remember in recent LCO times, be it from Peace, right? Sneaking in as the 6th seed and then running it all the way through to win. Is it actually true when they say that running those extra games on stage really can be the defining factor to allow you to figure out how do we actually beat this team that we can't all season?
I mean, stage games are a completely different beast to scrims, right? They're just a lot more efficient. I'd say you learn more overall, a lot faster. And even though Bliss only had 3 or 4 more games than Ground Zero throughout this entire playoffs, they really do add up, and you really do figure out a lot about your team throughout these playoffs. And I think that Bliss has done a good job overall to adapt to their mistakes. And I think the main thing we're really seeing, you're not seeing a draft difference or a gameplay difference or any player stepping up. I just think we're seeing the team play really come out of Bliss, and that's what we're really worried about. But can Kevin land these Skittles?
Can he land the Skittles? He needs to land one more, but Kurek's too clean with it. He says, you won't kill me today. I will deny that one. Actually, you know what? I'll just hit this button. You can put the shield up, and he survives. Kurek again refuses to fall over.
And he does get out of that one alive, but here comes the true shot.
Oh. So anticlimactic.
It wasn't even Dia. Got us excited.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kevy's going to have to settle for his second prize, which is, I can't get the kill. I'll just get this dragon instead. And this one is one of those truly comprehensive performances, right? No trading of the objectives. We get all the grubs, and now we get the Drake too.
Yeah, and it's just really nice team play. Fighter dashing 40. It might be forced to blow the flash.
He certainly is going to be forced to burn the flash, because out comes the ignite. 1 auto, 2 autos. Force respawn is confirmed. And just greeted it, I suppose. Really to greet it with the Braum. As soon as he tags you up, he knows he's all in.
Alidoric is just that good, Skimmy. That wasn't Fido's mistake. That's just Alidoric being him in that moment and predicting the flash there with the concussive blows. Going in straight away with his Q flash to predict the flash coming out of Fido. Finds that tag up. And that is such a big swing for this dynamic of the game, because all of a sudden, if this one counter pick that Ground Zero had in draft starts to lose, there's no real win condition for Ground Zero in this lane phase anymore. They have to wait for the scaling to really kick in, and that might be too late.
Yeah, you really need to rely upon it. Those champions like the Renekton that we see in action right now up against Schoenfire, taking a straight 1v1. There is no Requiem to follow this time, and Bio does have the flash, but without any vision, decides not to follow. Not worth the risk, especially when they were already ahead. Yeah,
just Kevy calling his boys to come protect his cans. Schoenfire's already got away with everything he needed, but this is what's really going to happen in this mid lane now, as we see the tabbies and the phase come forward from Harry. And the nice thing about Cork is your base damage is so high that you kind of just, don't need to build damage items. You can just build these really defensive items and outmuscle your opponents. And Lucian's so important, or so reliant on these auto attacks. So, every single time these Ninja Tabbies reduce that auto attack damage, it really adds up in these trades. And the one nice thing about Lucian is you can dodge that phosphorus bomb consistently with your Relentless Pursuit, but it just really doesn't matter anymore when those Gatling, the Gatling gun armor shred stacks up and these autos start to really hurt.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, especially once the Sheen is there, you're weaving it in with some Trinity Force procs, then you're really living your best life, at which point Fighter's thinking, did I do enough in the early game? And whilst it is still relatively close in that regard, it's going to balloon open even further in a second. You had to imagine, right? 100 CS, 20 difference, level advantage. And it begs the question, all right, Shern and Kurak, what is your response? How do you want to try and bail him out of this poor situation?
Yeah, well, we keep talking about how bad this looks, right? It's really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. You take stock of what is happening in this game overall, and Shern already has his first item completed. He is on the clock. He is ready to fight, and we're probably going to see that happen at this next scrub, which have spawned. We see multiple members coming out from the side of both teams, grouping up, being ready to skirmish and fight around this one. But Kurak, flash ult ready. Aladoric doesn't have the own flash this time, and I think that Shernfire with his one item in his pocket could potentially be a bit stronger, but maybe this is really just going to come down to the fact that Renekton is way stronger in these skirmishes right now than the Camille will ever be.
Let's see what can accomplish as a result of this one, because no AD carries are going to be involved in this team fight. They're both locked in bot lane, looking to try and CS as much as they can. Only 11 minutes in, so still plenty of plates for him to achieve if they can find them. But Kurak's being bullied out of the river. He's forced to flash away at that glacial fissure. Aladoric had seen blood and was prepared to strike first. Tien hunting on the side, not to be tagged up just yet. All the grubs then looking to go the way of Bliss. They get all 6 to their name. Aladoric dies, picked up by Shernfire. Tien wraps around and locks down another kill, but across goes the wall is Bio. Requiem secures that kill. And now a true shot barrage going straight through the river.
Not again.
Yet again, Kurak survives.
So, Ground Zero gets the advantage in the kills there, right? But with the 6 grubs going over to the side of Bliss, Kevy is very happy with that. He sacked a lot of these camps to be participating around these, lane states, make sure he is getting his objectives, does get the dragon. So all of a sudden, the experience lead that Shernfire really built up is kind of mitigated, and this is just really good by Bliss to be here first, to be set up first. Kurak so many times walks in ahead of his team, and he's so tanky that he just lives, but this time he's forced to flash straight away, straight out of this fight. Lands a really nice solo flare onto Kevy, which finds him this kill, but Ian has to flash in with these Hexa ultimatum to really lock down this kill, and that is going to swing this matchup on top even more, especially since, a lot of these kills are going towards the correct members on the side of Bliss.
Now they certainly are, and it does become a bit of a dicey situation now, because you're looking at that second dragon spawning and thinking, all right, how keen are you to try and pick this one up, Ground Zero, or do you stick to your guns and always play the map? Because despite it being only 12.5 minutes in, it is Ground Zero, actually with the gold lead still, unless... Oh no. Commiserations there to Fido. You can see, looking really frustrated in that player cam now.
Yeah, that just feels really bad. Last game we saw that Kurak really couldn't get anything done this Braum, right? He all the roams he was going for really weren't finding anything, but this time Aladoric on the Braum. 2 kills in the mid lane on a champion who, is known for being defensive. You don't really ever find offensive options with this champion, so really, really well played by the mid jungle of Bliss, but also it feels bad for Fido falling down twice. This matchup is so important for Lucian to get ahead and stay ahead, because he's just going to get out-muscled from this point going forward. But if we look at the inventory scheme, you already see the Triforce being completed for Tien, so that is so nice for the side lane dynamic of this game, because regardless of how fed Harry gets, he's never going to win this 1v1 against the Camille.
No, not at all. And I think this is really all... this is already becoming a bit of an early indication that Fido's going to be passing the baton on to Tien to say, look, you've got yourself fairly far ahead very early on. I'm going to need to align your late game scaling a little bit earlier than you may have anticipated, right? Because I'm having a really rough time in the mid lane. And I need to find some way out of this. And will the dragon be their ticket back in? Do they feel a necessity to contest whilst we are dead even? Or do Bliss say, you can't get the grubs, you can't get the dragon, what can you get?
There is a TP advantage for Bio on the top side of the map. You already see Fido legging it down to get to this objective as soon as possible, because if they want to contest this, the numbers are there for the side of Bliss, Gimme.
No flash on Violet, he could be the focus. Flash available though for Harry as they look to try and disengage away. Tien flanking on the side with attack suit to try and lock them down. Solar Flare will do that successfully. The flash away will make sure that Kevy lives for the meantime. Aladoric then gets pounced upon as the Hexa Ultimatum looks to try and lock Harry underneath his own tower. Stunned, Flash survives, no Stranglethorn to connect today. And a Requiem to really make sure you are not interested in any further shenanigans. And I think the biggest winner is the fact that Bliss get the dragon, but they keep Bio top.
Yep, absolutely. They lose one member, but they get the dragon, they get the waves in top, so they're getting experience and denying experience. They get the objective. Violet alone on the mid wave as well, getting solo experience, but we're seeing another skirmish between these mid jungle right now. Harry, no flash, no Valkyrie.
So unfortunate there for Kurak. That Zenith blade must have landed. That's Nautilus. It lands every day of the week. What can Harry do to get himself out of this one? He's going to get stunned up in melee range and just die as a result of that one. Shutdown found by Schönfire, who has honestly been very quietly achieving and is 2-2.
Yeah, absolutely having a very good game on the Sari jungle. Harry just completely forgot about, the fact that it is a 5v5 and not a 2v2, even though he has been participating in the 2v2 in the mid lane so often. But just going to be clearing happening from both junglers, and even though Schönfire is very far ahead, the inventory difference is not really showing that, right? And that's that main thing, when we think of, these AP junglers taking over the game is when those big ticket items come through and, these champs start to really hurt in these team fights. But so far, we're not really seeing the inventory reflecting the amount of gold or the amount of experience that Schönfire has really accrued this game.
Which is always the exciting thing about early game, right? Is you can be absolutely crushing it in your 1v1, but based on just how big those breakpoints are, you might just be in an identical build, exactly as we're seeing on display here now. Lane swap's going to occur then, with the plates being gone, with the objective not there for another whole 4 minutes. Not going to deter Bliss looking to try and make their 2v2 take place here on the top side. Soliflay goes down, locks in place Violet. Alodor is the one that falls on down. It's going to be Lemus that picks him up with the assistance of his own ultimate. And this is them starting to answer back now. But out goes the True Shot Barrage. The flash pounds dominance effect from this Renekton, who gets stuck inside Camille's cage and cannot move. Hero will answer back. Kevy, the one to pick up the kill. And Schönfire splits this fight apart by dropping that Stranglethorns and says, look guys, this game is far from over.
How unfortunate for Kevy. I think his Requiem is almost off cooldown. Just died when that one was still on cooldown, so wasn't able to send that one. That would have been a double kill going in the pocket of the Karthus there, but they find that tiny window where that one is not off cooldown, and they finally get something on the map scheme. They finally get a win. Not a trade, but an absolute win, and this is Bliss going aggressive onto Tien here. And I think what we see is that, the TP didn't come out of bio fast enough, and GranZero did a really good job to punish this one because Lemus is really outputting the DPS he needs to right now.
Certainly is, and it's a scary proposition because he comes out of this one. He's already got 4 kills now with the Bloodthirster activated on top of that. He knows that he just needs to survive through all of this burst. Yes, Final looks to get aggressive again. Bit of deja vu, where Alodoric is the focus one more time. The Requiem is there, however, and Fighter with a reckless abandon says, I need 1 kill, just something. But Harry finds his 3rd in response. Schönfire very close to dying to Violet on the flank inside that river, and will persist for the meantime. So this will be GranZero yet again having to sacrifice another crucial objective.
And I don't think, Alodor feels too bad about that one, right? He did so much work there to buy so much time for his team, and if Fighter didn't commit with his flash to get that last kill, that would have been a very one-sided trade for a lot of resources committed from GranZero. We see the teleport come forward out of Tien, and, that's really, really unfortunate here, but the engage giving.
The engage is huge onto Biopanth. It's going to be picked up by Kurak. But they spotted him out, taking the tower, and gotten another kill. And look, you felt like Bliss were in control of this game, but all of a sudden, it's a 4K lead for GranZero.
Yeah, and this is what we really see from GranZero. A lot of these game states feel quite even, but they always have these gold leads, and it's going to be in the pocket of Schönfire. But it doesn't reflect that in the inventory. I assume he has a lot of gold in his inventory right now, and when he bases, we're going to see those big ticket items start to get completed.
It'd be terrifying if he just picks up a Leandries out of nothing, right? You'd be like, okay, well, this game is looking a little bit dicey right now. 3,000 gold, well, there you have it. He is ready for the biggest payday of them all. Tien still achieving in that side lane, working towards that 2nd item spike of his own. There is that Leandries then in all one big purchase. And certainly a case of showing that Bliss, you think you did well, you did a good job, but it's just not enough.
And another player who has an absolute dominating lead is Lemus right now. Doesn't really have to do anything in this lane. He just farm, just scale, and he's the winner of all these skirmishes. And I really like his build where he's gone for the Bloodthirster second. He is ahead of the clock in terms of these items, so he can go for these defensive options, still output a lot of DPS, and really mitigate the poke from the Ezreal, the Karthus ult, the poke from the Corki. So really nicely he's adapting his build to the game and, doing a really good job at adapting to the series overall, because the fact that if this Braum blind pick starts coming out, he's recognizing that, I can just play these, scaling, no pressure picks like the Zeri, like the Jinx, and really get away with dominating the mid and late game.
And that's what you're hoping for, right? GranZero to showcase their pedigree, their class, the reason why they were first and so untouchable for this entire season, right? And, those adaptations in the build certainly speak volumes for that. Lemus then, hot as the focus, is the one eking to engage in a 1v2, but Harry's damage output is simply astounding. And is that a lethal? Is that enough? Barry gets popped, and that denies the Requiem.
Yeah, this Karthus is just not hurting anymore to me, and I think that these fights keep going the way of GranZero, and it is so bad for this champ to fall behind. We do see the Warmok's being completed by Kurak though, so my point is, Violet just wants to go in for this 1v3.
Daddy certainly does want to go in for the 1v3. Contest both Tien and Shen. Fire dies as a result of that. One locked inside Camille's ult yet again. Kurek finds an opportunity to dance on through. Cleanse and Flash being burnt by Ezreal. As Violet tries to ice skate from the back line, but Lima's right in their face, jumps on them, and says, look, the fight ends when I say it fights, but if Grand Zero don't find an instant one-shot, they're the ones forced to back away, and this is complete chaos.
Yeah,
with the Dragon already down.
This game has just absolutely taken a turn. You know, we thought it was going to be much slower. We saw the first game. It was more methodical, very thought out by Bliss, but Ground Zero, this team who never takes the foot off the pedal, are just attacking everywhere. They take objectives and they send members to defend the outside of the map. And we see Lemus, you know, pretty much defending his camps in a scenario where he should never be allowed to do that based on the fact they do not have mid priority, they do not have side lane priority, but he is just so strong and he just finds himself in these scenarios and he outplays them.
Really wondering then what the game plan is for Bliss to try and figure out how do we get ourselves back into this, because it started off so strong. You thought you'd done enough to try and put this Lucian behind, but their scaling is starting to come online, and you are looking towards Terry saying, can you and Kevy combined do enough? Because we're just having to bleed so many towers now.
It's just very, very easy for Ground Zero, especially because they have these champs who can, you know, go over walls, be mobile, to rotate around the map and just secure these objectives. You know, Bliss do not have the pressure of doing the Baron. It's so hard for them to take this one. And I think that Ground Zero, with the priority in, you know, 2 out of 3 lanes right now, minus the, you know, mid lane matchup in the Corki and the Lucian, it's so easy to move around, and we all know what, you know, Tien on the Camille can do, Lemus on the Zeri can do, and the fact that, you know, once again, we do not see any engage coming out of the side of the comp, you know, with Bliss having the Braum instead of something like the, you know, Nort, Leona, the Alistar. If they fall behind, it's so hard to get back into the game.
Absolutely, and I think that's the biggest tell, is the fact that they've got these 6 scrubs, but we've barely seen them actually use it. They've still been getting pushed in from Ground Zero, and they've still been getting put behind where we're always answering waves. Now we've actually had to lose control of mid lane, despite how far ahead the Corki got. We're unable to hold that one anymore, and the allure of the Baron always going to be there to taunt them, but Ground Zero can sit here all day.
And we do see those two, you know, those major 2-arm power spikes come out of both carries from Bliss. So while they are down in gold, while they are down a lot in pressure, they are, you know, they have finally come online. They finally have the damage to deal with these, you know, the Camille when she dives and when she gets tagged up by Eldoric and CC'd. So hopefully, if this objective is, you know, started and is committed, we finally get to see this even teamfight scheme. But what an ult.
What an ult from Schönfire. That really is game ending right there. Already so early on, that's crucial. But let's see what comes of it, because the Requiem tickles them. It really isn't doing enough damage anymore. And it is all once again on the shoulders of Harry. What can he accomplish? He managed to snipe away 1 kill, remove Lemus from the equation, which is huge. Does stop the Baron, but can they do enough pressure that forces Tien to remove himself from that top lane split push?
We already see the pings from Ground Zero going onto that top lane turret, but they were just a bit too slow on the, you know, overall map state. The Rift Herald gets summoned in base, but no one is there, Skimmy.
Not ideal.
Huh?
Not ideal whatsoever. We'll have to see really what comes of that in a second, because this, for me, just take stock of when Schönfire ults. That is the dream.
Yeah, this is a really good fight start for Ground Zero, but Lima's a bit overextended, not respecting how much damage Harry does right now. You know, the big one and the phosphorus bomb doing so much damage with the, you know, the mirror being completed, but I didn't know Rift Herald could be summoned while you're dead.
Well, there you go. You learn something new every day, Tally. Here I was thinking they need to summon it before they die. Not anymore.
I'm gonna have to find some mysterious wizard tech has happened in this game, Skimmy, but we'll see what happens. You know, back to the game, back to more important things. Yeah, I think the game state is shifting back towards, you know, being sort of Bliss favored. You know, it will continue to get better for Ground Zero as the game does go on. You know, they do have scaling in pretty much every single role on their team, but Bliss is starting to come online. I think when those 2 arms start to get completed, especially, you know, for the Renekton and that 2 arms for the Carters come through, that DPS really starts to ramp up. And a lot of the members on the side of Ground Zero are squishy, so if they do overextend, they will find themselves getting blown up.
Which is something we raised very early on into this draft, right? Is that whilst your team has an abundance of damage, what happens if you fall behind? Because you're going to be fully reliant then on Kurek soaking up all the damage as that single front line. The chaos can be caused by Tien. 200 spike there, fantastic. Camille, definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with now. But this is Bipepper saying, I don't want to TP unless called upon. He feels that the Baron is falling down a little bit too quick for his liking, so he can no longer walk over, and that's enough for Ground Zero to say, we found what we're after. We now hold the TP advantage. Back away.
They aren't going to send anyone to the bot lane, right? They're playing on 2 lanes. We do see the TP coming out of Tien, though, so he does have that flank on the Violet. Does he recognize this one?
That is the question. Hookshot into the back line, looking literally at his face. Flash, hookshot, it's all done.
He's alive.
Kevy opens up the account by removing the kill. Violet is alive with the cleanse flash being burnt at the tail end of that one. Strangleform splits apart the chaos in the mid lane, but it doesn't knock up anybody. And Bliss get to walk away. How on earth did Ezreal live?
And Fido is the loser of that one. You know, they find such a good... What a TP from TM. What an engage from him to find Violet there before he could even react. You know, do not see that TP come out and fog a wall on those, you know, pink wards, I believe. So really nice engage from him. And the fact that Fido tries to find the kill onto this Ezreal is, you know, so hard for him, but he feels like he's pressured to. We see the engage come out TN. This is really, really nice to catch him off guard like this. And the overall team fight looks so good for Ground Zero, but this member of Ground Zero in Fido is so low range, forced to go and try to find that 1-for-1 onto Violet, because if he does, he's done his job, and he's suddenly very happy because the rest of his team is so much stronger than his opponents, but cannot find that 1-for-1. He falls down, and a huge start for Ground Zero goes in favor of Bliss.
Yeah, it certainly does. And these are all happening at such odd times because it allows then Kevy to buffer, go back to base, match again that or Schoenfire with their items and say, look, we're keeping pace, just a fraction, but we will let you pick up this next dragon. We've done the damage in those initial two. We can bide our time to pick up that soul point, but Ground Zero will say, we actually quite like movement speed. I'm sure for Fido, for Limes, in particular, fantastic for them to try and glide as these AD carries.
Yeah, absolutely. Movement speed, you know, as we always say, very hard to quantify how goal efficient is, right? But it is one of the best stats in the game, so it's so nice to have. Especially in these games that are, you know, this game in particular, Skimmy, that is, everyone's moving around so much, and it is, you know, quite a different look from what you would think in a very, you know, range-heavy game. You thought it'd be a bit more slower, a lot more methodical, but what we're seeing right now is just aggression, 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 and this move speed really helps with that.
It certainly seems to be that way, right? Someone to check, okay, do we have our flashes? We're fighting. What do they have? They don't have anything? We're flanking. It really is being spammed off cooldown. And causing both teams to really figure out, okay, this Baron is always there, but how do we actually get to it? Because Tien always wants to split push. And, you know, obviously with the double AD carry, Ground Zero can smash through this Baron in no time.
And something to touch on right here is, you know, Fido does have that TP, but he's on the top side of the map, right? There is no TP advantage for either side of the game right now in terms of who's on the bot side. But look at Bliss's inventories. We see 4 blue trinkets, so they're constantly cycling through these ones to be able to face check and find this objective. And we do see Ground Zero constantly siding this objective because they do have the Warmog support who can heal up, but this is a flash, and it might just come down to a flip, Skimmy.
It's looking like a flip. I've ever seen it right now. Big one tries to go to Schoenfire. He flashes out the safety, not to be stolen away by Kevy. He hits the Stranglethorn right on the Baron pit, and Solarflare laps over that one beautifully. Baron done, shutdown acquired, but it's the junglers that really made the difference on this occasion. With Bliss having the ability to run members down, Harry picks off Limus, wraps around to Bio, who takes down Kurak, and they've removed 3 Baron buffs.
I get the idea from Ground Zero, right? They want to start this objective. They do not take damage. They want to force Bliss to come into them, and that's when their comp really shines. But you see this time, they've taken so much damage. You know, they always say, do not group up on the Baron, the new Baron. You take so much damage, you fail the raid mechanics, you will lose so much health. And, you know, even though they do get this objective, they do get the smite, it doesn't matter when the rest of your team is just so low and you're going to get cleaned up by the members of Bliss. You know, look how strong Harry is, isolating out, you know, these carries from Ground Zero, and the fact that Bio, in a 1v2, wins that one himself.
And he certainly does. With Violet in his back pocket there to back him up, they say, we can just split you apart, make you scurry away, and yeah, piece by piece, remove the power that you can acquire from that buff instead. Still, it's a 5k lead that favors Ground Zero, but it's Bliss constantly being a menace, saying, you might feel strong, but we're finding answers on the fly.
Tien, gotta be careful here, no flash.
What does he do? Does he go back to base? Do Bliss bide their time? Do they wait? They say, you know what, enough is enough. You know that something's up, and we know something's up as well. You're on the menu. You're next one on the chopping block. And can you, as a Camille, 1v3. Top tier 1's gone. Wall of Pain goes out, slows him down. They lock in place with Hextech Ultimatum. He tries to hookshot the safety, but the double burn from Kevy is just too much to get through.
And look at mid lane, they still have the Baron buff on Fido, so they're quite happy to run down the mid and take this tower. You know, probably going to back up and not take the inhibitor. It's not really going to benefit them at all, you know, breaking that mid lane and giving the enemy team that free lane to follow this done. So still a trade, even though Bliss was the one who was proactive and looked for that kill, all of a sudden they have no control on the map. You know, Ground Zero can go back to that side lane, farm that one up, and, you know, with the vision they really secured from Kurak being on that objective in the mid lane, all of a sudden Ground Zero, who lost that member, have control of the map.
Then they certainly do, and whilst it might not be the biggest Baron in terms of gold achieved, they've broken open the base, and crucially, straight down the middle. Hopefully going to make it a little bit easier then for them to play off that, and always gain control for the subsequent objectives, because next dragon I look forward to in just over 60 seconds now. And Bliss would be very keen with the amount of vision. I mean, I can count at least 6 wards here, make it 7 all towards the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, a very, very red-looking map. You know, it's Christmas without the green skinny on the bottom side of the map right now. So really nice vision control for Bliss, because the next objective is the dragon spawning, and they really want to deny that soul point and secure the soul point for themselves, because we look at the inventory of Ground Zero now. Infinity Edge, 4 items for Lemus on this Zeri. Does not have the armor pen item, but he really doesn't need it because the enemy team is so squishy, and the only front line is, Renekton, who is just health and shield. So Lemus is absolutely online right now, does not have the flash, but you look at the other side of the map, 3 items on the Ezreal, 3.5 for Harry on the Corki, and that death cap being built for Kevy is such a big deal. And I think that both teams have the damage, and the execution is all that really matters for this next team fight.
That's what it certainly seems like for Ground Zero. It's a case of we need to really rally behind then the Lemus and Tien show. Schoenfire is causing so much chaos with him already at that Void Staff done. And these Stranglethorns have been fantastic, not only to cut off crucial areas of the map, but also just to guarantee they have time to answer back.
Oh, Fido.
Fido, I'm not sure what that was there. He's dashed into their face. Instant flash away, but he's going to be the first one to fall on. Down here, he picks it up for his 6th kill of the game. Out goes the Hextech Ultimatum. Schoenfire picks up the kill and removes the Corki. Do Bliss still have enough damage left? I do not know. Schoenfire on the double. Lemus untouched. The Bloodthirster shield working overtime. That was the difference. The lifesteal got him through, and they'll find the ace.
Is he a genius, Skimmy?
He's the best.
He just dashes into 4 people, but, he finds the 1-for-1. Harry commits himself to find the kill onto Fido, but the fact that he dies and trades the kill for Fido is such a win for Ground Zero, because all of a sudden Lemus left uncontested when it comes to these carries. He's tanking all the Mystic shots, the Requiem from Kevy, and it doesn't matter. He just heals through all of it and outputs more DPS, and this is what we were worried about when it comes to the Ezreal in these games. You hit the 30-minute mark, you find the 4 items, and you're just outscaled.
That you certainly are. The crit chance a little bit too much to try and get through. And this is going to be the neutralizer. Tied now 1-1. And I'm sure Fido's thinking, all me, guys. All me. I start off that engage. You won.
And I won't lie, Skimmy, that was, as close to a 45 as it does get when it comes to the gameplay. Fido couldn't really impact that game, but his team still pulled through massively. And if this is what the rest of the series is going to look like, I'm so excited.
I am as well. Will it be the 3-1 like we've predicted, or do Bliss still have more answers tucked away, as it'll be them to pick up side selection next game? But it's what we want. It's a grand final fit for the occasion. We're all tied up as we go to the break.